Welcome to Commander Tune-Ups with the Nitpicking Nerds.
This time, it's an upgrade to our patron Spreadable Fruits Kenrith Politics deck.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We got Commander content for you every single day, forever, until we die. Also, if you want to support the channel and our Commander every single day until we die, you can go to TCG Player because we have an affiliate link. And if you were ever wondering when's the best time to use the link, it's now. This month, because we're trying to hit a certain goal, and if we hit it, top 100 blue cards coming in hot.
Yes, and the TCG Player link is, of course, a place to buy Magic the Gathering cards. So buy all your Magic the Gathering needs for the month. Spend $400,000, and guess what? If you spend that much, we will definitely hit our goal.
We'll definitely hit our goal. Our goal is not quite $500,000.
Not quite, but it'd be nice to reach that.
It'd be nice for you because it's the same price.
Yeah, and this video and all of our videos and the Nitpicking Nerds themselves are sponsored by Moxfield. Stay tuned for a shout out to Moxfield somewhere in the video.
But you'll never see it coming, just like always. What are we doing?
Today, we are doing Commander Tune-Ups, where we take your patron submitted decks and under your restrictions and your budgets, we upgrade it to make your deck better.
Yep, we got Spreadable Fruit is the name of our patron. I would have to assume first name Spreadable, last name Fruit. So I will henceforth call them Spreadable.
I imagine you get picked on a lot when your last name's Spreadable, or your first name's Spreadable and your last name's Fruit. Poor guy.
Mr. Fruit, maybe? I don't know. Neither of those are good. Man, maybe we should just say Spreadable Fruit. There was no budgetary restriction for this deck, so we kind of just did whatever we wanted with that. And the actual, in-deck restriction was keep the voting sub-theme. This deck has a major voting sub-theme. It has almost every, if not literally every, card that requires players to vote for a certain outcome, and we're trying to get the best benefit from all those cards.
Yes, so the goal of this deck is to give our opponents lots and lots of choices, whether it be voting or otherwise. There's lots of cards that give choices. How do we win? Well, we'll make sure those choices are never good for them and always good for us, and turn that into a victory.
A lot of the time it's net positive for one opponent, net negative for all of them. And that just means we win when we stack 10 of those in a row.
Yeah. So first thing we got to do before we get into the deck tech part of this, where we make changes, make cuts, and we tell you the best cards in the deck, got to read the commander, and his name is Kenrith the Return King. 4 and a white for a 5/5 legendary creature human noble. Pay a red, give all creatures trample and haste. 1 in the green, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. 2 in a white, target player gains 5 life. 3 in a blue, target player draws a card. Put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control.
So Kenrith is already offering us a million choices, and we can give or selfishly hoard all the abilities we want. We got full control. So if we want to maybe have a little political deal, Kenrith's the perfect way to do that. The red one's probably just the best in general because you can say, hey, don't attack me and I'll give it haste. Who would say no to that?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple, it's upside without upside. It's upside, upside, upside when you do that, because you're not getting attacked, so someone else is getting attacked if you're giving haste and trample. Best cards in the deck before we did any upgrading were, well, there's 3 cards that all kind of go there. We got Biomancer's Familiar, boop, and then we got Zerdadom Worker, boop. They're all appearing on screen as I say it. And Training Grounds, boop, all makes activated abilities cost 2 less. That means if we have 2 of these, all of Kenrith's abilities cost 1 color. 1 color, pick the color.
Yeah, so then we're paying blue to draw a card and black to reanimate something at instant speed.
Even white gain 5 life is really good.
It's hard to stop that.
That's a lot of life. It is hard to stop that much life. But that's where we stop caring about Kenrith, because Kenrith isn't really the plan of this deck. What the best cards in the deck are, the best voting cards, which the best voting card ever printed is Expropriate. It's not even remotely close. You're either getting extra turns or you're getting permanents off the onto your side of the battlefield. Both are insane.
Yeah, and sometimes you get even more than that. We also have Selvala Stampede, which votes to flip cards from your deck until you get creatures, or put permanents from your hand into play. You're going to get 4 of those possible choices. Can't go wrong with this card. This card's annoying.
And both, so let's just do Expropriate here, because Expropriate's the best card in this deck by a mile. So other best cards is Ballot Broker and Brago's Representative, both which are the exact same thing. They're 3 mana for
something.
Stats that's 2/3 and a 1/4. But those stats don't matter at all. You get an extra vote every time there's a vote, meaning with something like Expropriate, what?
Each player votes, and then you vote, so you get 5 of whatever the possibilities are. Same with all of the will of the council cards. Council's Dilemma gives you an additional, and then Will of the Council, which is everybody votes individually, lets you manipulate so that you get the best outcome.
Yeah, both these cards are absolutely insane in these decks, and the best one by about a mile. This card's bonkers in this deck. It's the Illusion of Choice. It's an instant 1 mana. You choose how each player votes, meaning Expropriate is going to be 4 extra turns. Oh my god, this is so good. Even take a card like
Council's Judgment.
Council's Judgment, which is just, it's a decent removal spell. Decent. It's amazing with Illusion of Choice, where they replace itself. This card draws a card too. You make the choices, then you draw, so you don't even waste anything, and you turn one of your cards superpower.
Suddenly, Council's Judgment is, it's a 4-way tie. Who would have thought? I guess I'll get rid of the 4 best things.
Yeah, who would have thought? So unfortunate.
Never happens.
It's so unlucky, But, what can we do about it?
Let's get into the actual changes we made to upgrade this deck. So keep in mind, all of the voting cards, they're already in. So we're only really adding one of them that you'll see later. So we're going to make other choices and suit up the rest of the deck to fit our game plan. So we're cutting some ramp. So we cut Veteran Explorer. The problem with this card is it just kind of gives away resources. We don't get anything in return. So I don't want to just give stuff away for free.
Yeah, well, you'll see as we go through here, we cut the group hug side of this deck. Yeah, we do give stuff away in certain ways, but we're going to get more every single time. We're not going to give away. If Veteran Explorer gives away 6 lands and we get 2, that's not what we're interested in. So what we did add was Nature's Lore. This is just a great ramp spell. 3 visits already in here. If you have 3 visits, you always want Nature's Lore. That's just the truth.
We also cut Collective Voyage. This is way too many lands to give away, especially since your opponents have some choices on how this goes. They control the spell 75%. If you pay the green, now you can pay, let's say, 2 mana. You're net negative. You're down. It's the same thing as Veteran Explorer. And now they can pay to suddenly all the basics in everyone's decks are in play. And you might not even benefit from that at all because this is a 5-color deck and there's 5 basics.
Exactly. There's only 5 basics in our whole deck, so this isn't even close to interesting for us. In its place, we have Skyshroud Claim. Let's just do regular ramping. Let's get lands in play. Obviously, this deck is it's mana hungry. It's very mana hungry. So we want to ramp it 4 mana with Skyshroud Claim.
Something to note is that this deck contains all 10 of the original dual lands, so these cards are just untapped green sources plus whatever else every time.
Yes, every single time. We also cut Chromatic Lantern. Yeah, I mean, Chromatic Lantern, we don't think it's a good card, and it's a Manalith. It's Manalith. This mana was perfect. This isn't like I always say, this is a trade binder card where if you have, not good mana, this mana is perfect. You're not going to struggle with colors at all. So, Chromatic Lantern out of here. We added Pure Whim. Love it. So, we choose friend or foe. We're making all the choices here. We're going to go, how do we usually choose? Oh, I'm a friend. And you're all foes.
Triple foes.
So it's going to be they all sacrifice an artifact or enchantment, and you just go into your deck and get whatever lands you want. Feel the Dead, I think.
Best land in the format. I really appreciate Spreadable Fruit's knowledge on what the best land to play is and feel that it's in this deck. Pierce Whim, there's some wiggle room, though, so it's not just, an effect. You can give stuff out if you really want to curry some favor. So I like the options there. Victory Chimes got cut. Can only really give stuff away, It can help us activate Kenrith, kinda.
I'm just not a fan of the card. It's fine, but that's about it. That's how I would describe it. This card is fine. I don't want it in my decks, though. In its place, Curse of Opulence. Whenever you curse an opponent, whenever they get attacked, the player attacking gets a gold and you get a gold.
There's the exchange. If whenever they're getting something, we get the same thing, and it's net positive for us because we can do it twice in a turn cycle, and everyone else can only do it once.
Yeah, so we're just going to get lots and lots of gold. Perfect for us. We absolutely love it. Next, we're going into a little removal category. We just did the ramp, so now removal. We cut Imprison the Moon. Fine card, totally passable. But we're in 5 colors. We can do better. Added in Oko, Thief of Crowns. Comes out in elk stuff. I don't know why I feel like this is political. I feel like you can be like, I'll elk that. I don't know why. This kind of isn't really political, is it? Because to me, it feels political, though.
I don't know. It's just better than Imprison the Moon. I'd rather give him a 3/3 than a land.
Yeah, overall, that's true. But this... Obviously, Oko only hits creatures and artifacts, where Imprison the Moon can hit the extra type of land, right? It can hit lands.
It can turn lands into lands.
That's true. I mean, that is useful if they have a field that's going insane. Best land in the format.
Path to Exile got cut. We already have Swords. We're a 5-color deck. We're going to have plenty of removal. Let's throw in Druid of Purification, which is the perfect card for this deck, because each opponent gets a choice. They all benefit each opponent individually, but the actual card is widely in our favor because nothing of ours gets hit.
Yeah, exactly. This is basically voting. Everyone gets to vote for whatever they want to destroy that's not yours. Well, guess what? This is think of Will of the Councils, or not Will of the Councils. What is
Dilemma.
not the card. The Council will the
Council's Judgment?
Council's Judgment. That's what it's called. I knew it the whole time. Think of Council's Judgment, but this is a creature, and it can destroy up to 4 things without having to have all those ties.
Very rarely has it not destroyed 2 things or more.
Yeah, the card's very, very good.
Virtus's maneuver, not very good. It's so bad that I could barely even say it. It's friend or foe, but we can't control what they sacrifice, and we get a creature. Is this like, get it out of here?
I would say 3 mana, a 3 mana edict that raises dead is bad. That's just not even close to a card I'm interested in Commander, and that's what it is most of the time. And in wrong turn, there is political value here with this card. Take a creature, give it to another opponent. We went over this in a video like yesterday where we were like, hey, guess what? Most players are playing synergy pieces, so you take it off of the board of the player who's going to use it and give it to a player who's not going to use it well.
Commanders aren't very good outside their home.
Yeah, and you can just give away a commander, which is super annoying.
And it's still like your opponent gets something. They're getting a creature. But you're getting the best thing is in this commander's off my back. I don't have to worry about their weird synergy piece anymore.
Yeah, we took out Ghostly Prison, which I guess we'll list with it. Propaganda. Both of them are just cut from this list. They're fine. They're not what we're looking to do. It feels like it feels like you want a good reason to play these cards before you put them in, and we didn't have that reason in this deck. We added in its place, the first for Ghostly Prison, we put Blade Griff Prototype, more removal, giving our opponents choices that are only good for us.
And the only voting card that I think Spreadable Fruit missed, which is Coercive Portal, 4-mana artifact. On your turn, you either draw an additional card, which is what it's going to be most of the time, or if everyone chooses, or if you feel like it and you can manipulate their choices, blow everything up.
Yeah, so this is going to be it's a slow Phyrexian Arena. It's not like a super great card, but it's a voting deck.
We're playing worse cards than this.
I'm not gonna not put a voting card in my voting deck. That's just not. It's not gonna happen.
Mythic rare voting card. I think that might be one of the only ones besides
Expropriate.
Yeah.
Next we're cutting some group hug type stuff. First one, Hunted Nightmare. It's like some weird 4/5 for 3 undercosted, but you put out a death touch counter. This is not very good.
It's just a vanilla. I mean, even if this is what we wanted to do, this is such a small scale politic thing, and this doesn't matter.
Yeah, so we added in something. Well, let's give our opponents more choices. Choose one of your phases and skip it. That's Fate Spinner. Fate Spinner is going to make you skip some phases.
This card's really annoying.
It's so dumb.
Especially if combat matters, because if it doesn't, you just skip combat every time, and this thing doesn't do anything. But if combat matters, you're like, I have to take all these phases.
Exactly. Skipping these, every phase is important in some way. Oh my God, it feels so. Yeah, I think combat's the most skipped phase, probably. But still, combat's important in a lot of decks.
I mean, it's just the fact that this triggers every turn for free. You just set it and forget it, and it's going to annoy them, and they're going to have to deal with it. Hunted Horror gives away 2 3/3s, and it's a 7/7, so it doesn't even hit well enough. So we're just cutting it. Weirdly enough, we put in the other black creature ad.
Yeah, we added in Kumbaj Witches. Let's give our opponents choices again, but not positive for us almost every single time, especially if we can team up and kill 2/2s.
Yeah, we can use Kenrith to make our creatures bigger than X2s so they can't even die. So even if the opponent wants to betray us, it just doesn't matter because this is such a small scale thing, and we'll just activate again next turn and find somebody a little bit more grateful.
Yeah, exactly. You're just going to be able to make little tiny deals with this all the time. And if you're not, you can just start pinging. And the best thing is, no matter whoever you're using it on, you can they're going to be mad at you, but who cares? You'll let the other guy use the ability.
Yeah, it's really hard to let Kumbaj Witches stay out and not get value because there's always something that's like, I understand that you think Kumbaj Witches is a problem, but so is this 2/1 they have in play, and it could just be gone right now for free. And it's like hard to say no to that.
It is hard to say no, but you should say no sometimes. Next, we cut Tidal Barracuda. This lets everyone play spells as though they had flash, but they can't
not on your turn.
But not on your turn. Yeah, this is just like a weird group hug card that we're not super interested in. We added in a group hug card that's not group hug because it's scorched for us. It's Promise of Loyalty. Everyone chooses one of the creatures they control, sacrifice the rest. Those creatures have vow counters on them now, and the vow counter creatures can't attack you.
Yeah, ever. So they're just going to either sit put, fine, whatever. That means they're not really dealing anything to us, or they're going to hit each other, and that's fine. There's sometimes I think you could probably get burned by this if they're like, hey, my combo piece is still here, or my cost reducer that's going to sit around, Oracle of Moldiah is my best creature. Most of the time I think it's going to be positive because we have 3 opponents.
Yeah, and next cut was any deck building website that isn't Moxfield.com. And obviously in this place, we added
Moxfield.com.
Moxfield.com.
Really, this comes down to more of synergy, because if you're trying to make a deck, the deck's not going to work together if you just can't even build it. So what you want to do is you want to have a nice, smooth user interface. And Moxfield just lets you, it basically just does the work for you. You just turn on your computer and you just find your hands and your eyes and you're scrolling and everything just flows perfectly. And suddenly you have the best deck in the world, which couldn't be done otherwise.
Well, and you start your commander deck. You obviously pick your commander. That's the first thing. Then, as a built-in Scryfall search for any card you're looking for, so you just type in the card's name, boop, pops up, click it. Oh, but look, wait a minute. Joe, I'm playing a 2-color deck, and I want to add a temple, and I don't remember the name of it. Type in temple. It's only going to give you temples that fit into the colors of that deck.
It filters out every card that you couldn't play. Oh, man. Such a useful feature. Moxfield's great. Go get it if you don't have it. Or go follow us.
You don't have to go get it because it's a free website.
Get it in your bookmarked websites.
Yeah. Get the Nitpicking Nerds part, like Moxfield.com/Nitpicking Nerds or whatever it is.
Yeah, now that we've covered deck building changes, Spreadable Fruit will be very happy to now know that his deck is on Moxfield, which it was anyway. We can go to Cardra. Mine's Aglow. Lets everybody draw way too many cards and is way too negative for us. So we're going to add Kineos and Tiro. Gives away something, but we get both halves of the abilities. We can draw a card and play land.
Again, choices. I like the whole. I think instead of like voting is a good term that is used a lot in this, but I think the real theme of this deck is giving our opponents choices
that are all positive for us still.
Exactly. So
but they still matter what the choices are.
They can draw or they can put a land in play. You're going to do both, and you're giving out that choice. I love this card. It's such a cool card.
My eyes kind of glazed over when I started getting to this section of the deck. I don't think these big mega staples are needed, so we're cutting things like Enlightened Tutor. I would rather play card draw. It feels like it deflates the fun archetype you choose when you're just playing the 3 best cards from that archetype every time. Like this deck especially, I know obviously we can't find it with Enlightened Tutor, but Expropriate. Like if we're just tutoring for Expropriate every game, this is not a voting deck. This is a you're dead to Expropriate deck.
Yeah, but obviously we're gonna draw it naturally and we're gonna play it. Enlightened Tutor is fine in this deck, but it's nothing. It wasn't even synergistic to the deck, so we cut it. It's spot Generous Patron, which is actually really good in this deck. Comes down, puts 2 counters on creatures. Whenever you put a counter on a creature an opponent controls, draw a card. Kenneth has an ability. 1 green, it says draw a card now because you're just gonna put a counter on their creature and draw a card.
Plus, you can just mess with people. If someone's getting attacked, their blocks are now garbage because if you held up, 6 mana, it's like you can't trade. I'm going to pump their thing so it hits you. Maybe I'll give it trample. You're just going to take extra damage. It's going to be great.
That was true before Generous Patron, but it's more true with Generous Patron.
And then it's like, and they're drawing cards. That feels so bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, man, they could have done that anyway. But now they're drawing cards. That's
the thing. I'll give you a counter, but guess what? Only if I get a card off of it.
Yeah, we cut Vampiric Tutor. Great card. Works fine if you want to play it. I mean, if you're trying to make this deck more powerful, well, first thing, I would suggest cutting the whole voting theme.
I wouldn't give your opponents choices.
Yeah, I would play, we could just make this a Thoracle deck if we wanted to do that. So cut Vampiric Tutor. In its place, a cooler tutor, Burning Rune Demon. Go get 2 cards. Your opponent picks one in your hand, 1 in the graveyard.
That's not fair, but only kind of fair. I don't know what is.
Guess what? Opponents get choices.
They get a choice, and we're going to bury them anyway. Wished Claw Talisman not only gives them a choice, but it just takes this whole thing out of your hands. We have Humble Defector in our deck. That's drawing 2 cards. That's one thing. But tutors, depending on what decks you're playing against, that could just end the game on the spot. So I would rather not. And we're going to play Manifold Insights instead, which spreads out the top 10 cards of our deck. And they have to give us 3 non-lands collectively, so they all make a choice.
Yeah, so Manifold Insight is a really cool card, again, making our opponents make choices. I want to mention about Witchclaw Talisman. I like Scheming Symmetry is in the deck. Mm-hmm. It's even, and I'm fine with playing that card. I don't want to play Witchclaw Talisman because you cannot guarantee you're going to get 2 tutors. It can be 1 tutor for you, 1 tutor for another point, 1 tutor for another point, and that is butt soup.
Yeah, that's rough. But I like this deck. Definitely falls into the category of your opponents have to pay attention during your turn because they're like as active during your turn as you are. If they're on their phone, they're going to get screwed. They're going to be like, wait, what? Huh? And everyone's like, choose something.
Yeah.
You didn't care about that at all.
Well, I didn't have a response, planned because I didn't know what you were going to say. So it was tough. I had to off the cuff.
I get it. That's cool.
We cut Endless Whisper because it's giving our opponents more than we're getting by about 2 miles.
Yeah, Will the Wise, though, or... Oh, God. His name is like Rugnor
Rug.
Chaplain.
Rug for short.
Ruggy guy. But yeah, he gives away clues, but for every clue they take, we get a clue. And then if they don't take clues, they lose some life.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, it's a good amount of clues, and it happens when it enters and when it dies. It's only a 2-drop, so it's triggering really simply, coming down early, getting us clues.
Now, we mentioned Generous Patron, but we actually kind of want to add it again.
Yeah, so Generous Patron is all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. I started putting them over here because they're going to scroll while we might start talking about some other cards, because I don't want to speed up their names too fast, because they deserve
it.
They deserve their time on screen because they support us.
Literally
directly.
make the entire channel possible. So we love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable.
Yes, I love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Next.
This is like the win conditions / some card draw.
It's like the end of card draw into the win conditions. We cut Tainted Pact. We'll get into why that's a win condition in a second. We're just going to skip it for now.
If you didn't know.
If you don't know. We added for card draw, Atreus, Oracle of Half-Truths. Again, it's a really cool choice / mini game that you get to play with your opponents. I think this is one of the coolest designs ever on a card. Like,
most fun.
It's such a cool, awesome design. I'm in for it, and it fits the theme of the deck.
Yeah, it's hidden information, and you always get to go up a card. At least you can't go down a card. And it's going to be great for you. Demonic Consultation. No thanks. How about Captive Audience? There's a choice that opponents can make. It's not great, though, because they either go to 4 life, create 15 zombies, 5 under each other opponent's control, or they discard their hand. And they have to choose all 3 eventually.
These are all bad.
If you didn't know.
The only thing that's not good about this card is it's very mean. It can be a mean bully card. Right? Not good. I mean, the only thing that is annoying about this card is sometimes your opponents will hate you.
One opponent, they're going to be out in front, and they're going to have this coming, and they're not going to be able to say boo.
And then they're just going to play Nature's King and go, no! I don't like it.
You're not supposed to play that. This is a voting deck.
This is my voting deck. And the last but not least, we cut Thassa's Oracle. Easiest cut in the world. What if we're winning with Thassa's Oracle? Is this really our voting deck? No, it's our Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation deck.
Yeah, I don't know. That felt like kind of shoehorned in there. You know, it's fine. Spreadable fruit. We cut it.
I did this for flavor, and like in my head, it works so perfectly. So obviously, this whole time, we're a puppet master. We're pulling all the strings. Like every vote or choice is always in your favor at the end of the day.
It all factors in.
So we're gonna play Omniscience. Mm-hmm. We've been Omniscient the whole time.
Yeah.
But when we're ready, we're gonna pull out our big Omniscience and show them that we've been pulling the strings. And now we're just gonna win with whatever we want.
Yeah, we'll slam a bunch of big creatures, have some counterspell backup. We're gonna be able to slam all the voting cards, at least with this one, as opposed to Thassa's Oracle. We might win pretty close to when we cast Omniscience, but we're winning with the deck. Our deck is winning. This just allows us to play more of our deck.
Exactly, yeah. And this isn't an auto win in this deck by any means, but it is.
I don't even know if it's like a guaranteed win.
No, it isn't at all. But it is a very cool and fun card for this deck. Budget, little rundown of the deck, was not applicable.
Didn't have one. Didn't have to meet any goals.
Yeah. So total spent. We only spent $88.37, less than $100. Damn, we are good. Yeah, we kept this pretty cheap. This deck looks really cool though. Like honestly, we probably cut more value. We absolutely cut more value than we added because we cut a Vampiric to it. Actually, based on what I'm looking at here, we could probably take the cards that we bought, sell them at buy list prices, and get the rest of the cards.
And get the rest, yeah. The original average mana value was 2.75 because there was this spiky little corner of the deck with like 5 1-mana cards that all tutored or got something and exiled my deck, Thassa's Oracle. So we cut all that, and we increased it to 3.33. That feels more like a voting deck average mana cost to me.
Yeah, we've been upping mana values because we're making decks. We're not aiming to make the decks.
This deck wasn't aimed to be powerful.
Yeah, I mean, voting is not inherently powerful at all. So it's fine to up the mana value to make the deck more synergistic, which is what we did. Total changes 20, and that is because we did not touch the mana base whatsoever.
Didn't have to.
Usually we touch like 10 lands or so, maybe less, but we didn't have to. The mana base was perfect.
Fetches, duels, Field of the Dead. What more could I ever ask for?
Yeah, exactly. And this tune-up series has been going on for a while now. What number are we on?
This is tune-ups number, I want to say 82.
So tune-ups number 82. So we've been doing this. So there are 81 other tune-ups for you to watch. I don't suggest you go too far back because our quality starts dipping a lot.
How about you go to last week's?
Yeah.
There was an Edgar Markov deck, Spicy Vampires.
Yeah, and it's in that video you will learn that Edgar Markov, he's an Italian New Yorker.
Come see his accents.
Come see all of his accents. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.